In this exercise we want to create a flow to capture the responses on a form, then send an email to the respondent, and then add the responses to a list in the SharePoint site. This is the form we are going to use. This is built using Microsoft Forms. We only have 3 questions that gets the following information. The user's title. The user's skill level with a previous version called the Model Y. The user's email address. To create a flow. You can start from a blank flow, you can start from a template, or you can start from a connector. In this exercise, we will start from a template. Do you see the search step on the right-hand side of the screen? In this exercise we want to create a flow to capture the responses on a form, then send an email to the respondent, and then add the responses to a list in the SharePoint site. Click inside the search step and enter the word form. Then press enter. Which template should we use for our exercise? Yes. From the search results, select the one with 2 form icons, an email icon, and the SharePoint icon. In the next screen, look at the top part of the screen to make sure that this is the flow we want. Yes, it is, because we have 2 form icons, an email icon, and the SharePoint icon. Look at the lower part of the screen, you will see that it shows you the forms and email and SharePoint that your accounts are related to. Click Continue. At the top of the screen is the start of the flow. The flow is made up of a number of boxes. In the diagram, each of this box in a flow diagram is called a step. In the first step, which says when a new response is submitted, click the down arrow next to the form ID field. As you can see, when you click the down arrow, the forms that you have created are shown. Then select the form do you want to choose to start the flow with. Also notice that if you click the name of the step again, the details inside that step will be hidden like this. This is very useful when your flow is quite long and you don't want to see the details of all the steps. The next step says apply to each, which means that each time a response is received, Microsoft Flow will apply the steps within this step. Click the step with the label Get Response Details. You'll notice that Microsoft Flow still asks you to select the form that you want to get the responses from. Select the same form that we selected in the first step. Then click the next step called Sent Email. When you click the To field in the Sent Mail step, you will notice that a dialog box pops up on the right-hand side of the screen. There are 2 tabs in this dialog box. One says Dynamic Content, the other one says Expression. We are looking at the items under the Dynamic Content tab. Do you know where are these items coming from? They are all questions in our form. You can choose the items from your form. For the To field, you should not choose the responder's email unless you are getting responses from people who are signed in the same organization as you. Instead, you should choose the answer to the question that asked for the respondent's email address. By single-clicking it, you can see that Microsoft Form automatically put that information in the To field. Next, click the Subject field and you can enter more information in the Subject field. You can either enter static information such as confirmation, or you can also choose some dynamic content from the dialog box on your right. When you're done with the Subject field, you can click the Email Body field. You can enter anything in the email body. Note that you can also include HTML tags. If you don't need the dynamic content, you can click the words Add Dynamic Content to close the dialog box. If you click Show Advanced Options, you will see that there are many other fields that you can try. For example, the field is HTML indicates if the email will contain HTML tags. Click the next step called Create Item. Notice that the SharePoint icon is next to the name of the step. This means that this item is to be created in a SharePoint list. You can see inside the step it asks for a site address and the name of the list. If you click the 3 dots, you will see that you have many options to modify this step. For example, you can copy the steps to your clipboard, you can rename it, you can add a comment. We're not going to do any of these now. Choose the site address you want this form to be associated with. In this case, I will choose Dream Furniture. and then click the down arrow to select a list inside the site. Now, you can click the Add an Action button to add more steps, or you can create a new step. Since I have entered all my steps, I will click Save. Note that you cannot save the flow if there are errors in the flow. You can see the flows you created by going to the navigation menu and click My Flows. You will find that the flow you test created is now listed at the top. So what do you need to do to test your flow? Yes, you should go to Microsoft Forms and enter the details on the form, such as title, skill level with Model Y, and an email address. I have already filled out the form I created earlier. Now I am back in Microsoft Flow. You can see the flows you created by going to the navigation menu and click My Flows. Click My Flows. You will find that the flow you test created is now listed at the top. If you click on the name of your flow, you should see some information about the flow. You can see how long ago it was modified, and you can click the pen icon to modify it. Click the start time of your flow and you will see the results of executing each step. A green tick means the step is successful. A red exclamation mark means the step has failed. You can click the name of the step to see more details in order to debug that step.